All right, so I'm going to do two dishes here. The first thing I'm going to do, we're going to season these fillets. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to season this with salt and pepper. We like to use a pepper mill. When you season the fish itself, what happens is the flavor gets kind of into the meat. If you just add the salt to the to the regular ingredients, then you're not going to get all that seasoning in there. So we're going to kind of start off both dishes the same way. We're going to season the fillets. Again, these are the skin-on fillets. And salt and pepper. All right, so what we're going to do is put a little extra salt on. This is going to be the fillet that we are going to pan sear. And the thing about pan searing is you want the skin as dry as possible. So we're going to leave this right here on this paper towel so that it will absorb that moisture. Now in here, and I'm ready, I don't want to bore you with my cutting skills. So we have probably about maybe 12 cloves of garlic. I'm going to put that in there. Chopped cherry tomatoes, grape tomatoes actually, put that in there. About 3 onions, nice size onions, put that in there. Now there's going to be a little bit of oregano. All right, I prefer Italian oregano. It tends to be a little bit sweeter. Greek oregano is good, but it can be a little bit more bitter. And now, salt. Don't be afraid to use a little bit extra salt if you like seasoning. All right. Now, my mom was diabetic and she had a lot of issues with salt, also from blood pressure and such. So if you're not going to use salt, if you have a salt-restricted diet, you can cook meals without salt. What you do is kick up the herbs. All right, so now, extra virgin olive oil. In Italy, they cook with it all the time. Here, we use it for finishing. Not here. Here, you're going to use this. You're going to use extra virgin olive oil from Italy. Look at the can, make sure the grapes are, the olives themselves are from Italy. So I'm going to put probably about, let's say 3/4 of a cup in here. We're going to juice 1 lemon. Get yourself a juicer. Okay, it stops the seeds from going in instead of using a reamer. I love it, or a fork, you know. Now, you want to mix this up nice with your hands. Get that going. Okay. Now you can also, now we have about a cup of wine, white wine we want to put in here. That's it. Yeah, just mix it up a little bit. Get your fillets and kind of toss them around in there. You want to have a little bit of onion and stuff underneath it, kind of keep the skin off the bottom so it doesn't stick. Turn it around. All right. And you know, we would kind of cook this differently in a restaurant because we're making one meal at a time. But for the home cook, this is the way you want to do it. So now you have all this in here. Now I'm going to put this into a 400 degree oven and just let it bake until the fish is about 140 degrees. You don't want to go much more than that because then the fish starts to dry out. It's nice and fresh, beautiful. I'm going to throw a little bit of onion on top here, okay? So now what you have here, 4 onions, the 12 cloves of garlic chopped up, about a tablespoonful of oregano, salt and pepper to taste, a cup of white wine, 3/4 cups of oil, and that's it. So this is a simple meal. You can make it at home. It works with a lot of different things. Oh, and of course the cherry tomatoes are the grape tomatoes, and we have about about 2 cups of tomatoes in here. So we're gonna let this go right in the oven. All right, so now what I'm gonna do, this is the second recipe. This is going to be a pan-seared striped bass. I'm gonna make a lemon, white wine, sage, butter sauce, kind of a hybrid. What we have here is gonna take a juice of 1 lemon. We're going to take let's call this 4 cloves because some of them are really tiny. 2 tablespoons of butter mixed with 2 tablespoons of flour. This is going to be your sauce thickener. We got these sage leaves from my little herb garden. They smell great. And again, about a cup of wine, salt, pepper, oil. The oil we're going to use in the searing is going to be a high heat oil. I'm going to use rice oil. I kind of like it, rice bran oil. All right, we got our cast iron pan nice and hot. An easier way to do this is to use a non-stick pan. I'm going to go with this. This is seasoned well. The trick to this thing too, you want to use a hot pan and a cold oil. This is rice bran oil, which is going to be a little bit higher heat than most oils. Peanut oil you can also use. This one, at least, you know, people are allergic to peanut oil. This is a better option. Now we have the fish. It's been laying on here. This skin has to be nice and dry, so that we get a good crisp on it. So we're going to put that oil down real quick. See how it dances in there? Now, here, when you put this down, you have to shake it a little bit so it doesn't stick. Go, move it around, move it around, move it around, press it down, okay? Move it around. This so it doesn't stick. Okay, now you want to press it down a little bit to get that curl out of it. Okay. You want to take a spatula because it's getting a little bit hot. After this is done, what we're going to do is we're going to flip this over. We're going to brown both sides, and then I'm going to make my sauce. I'm going to show you how to make that sauce. I'm going to do it right in this one pan. It's going to pick up the taste of the fish in there. You want that. You want those little bits of goody things in there. Striped bass is only found on the east coast of the United States. It's indigenous to the Americas. It is a fresh and saltwater fish. It spends its time, the spawning season, is spent in the rivers and tributaries of many states, the Chesapeake, the Raritan, the Hudson River. They spawn in fresh water. The fingerling kind of grow and mature in fresh water, and then they head out to the ocean. They migrate. They're migratory fish. They go all the way down to the Carolinas. They go all the way north as far as Maine and even in Nova Scotia. It's a great fish. I mean, they get up to 50, 60, 70 pounds, even more. I mean, I go out with my guys at Brooklyn Fishing Club. We have a lot of fun. It's a great fish to catch. It really is a great fish. It's delicious. It's one of the favorites. We're going to flip this over. See how nice and brown that is? It's a little crispy. We're going to brown a little bit more. I'm going to get it on the other side. You want to check that temperature. I mean, we're here. You want to make sure you get in the center of the fish. We're probably, we got a ways to go. We're about 90 degrees, but it goes quick. Okay. All right, that's skin nice and crisp. So we've reached like 140 degrees. We're going to put this on this pan here. See, look how beautiful that is. How crisp that is. That's where you want it. We're going to throw off this excess oil. Turn the heat up a bit. We're going to deglaze the pan with a little white wine. Put our lemon juice. Now, we'll put our garlic in here. That burn off. So you want to kind of also work the bottom of that pan. You want to get that bond up there. You want to burn that alcohol off. You want to reduce this to about half. Just taste this for seasoning. Put a little salt in there. Now, this butter should be enough for this. Is plenty. If you find the sauce got a little too thick or too flavorful, you can always put a little bit of water in there. Now, what's going to happen is this butter is going to thicken this sauce. How nice that is. Yeah. Beautiful. The whole thing with making this pasta, it's about timing, because your pasta is going to be used to cook this dish. So you need this hot pasta going, and you need to time it right. So you have to make sure that you have your pasta water on at a rapid boil, because this cooks very quickly. So I'm gonna toss the pasta now, and then we're gonna cook it. It just goes very, very fast. Put that in there, let go. Now in here we want about a half a cup of olive oil. Okay. Extra virgin always. Get that going. We cook the garlic cold in the oil. So we don't get the oil hot, then put the garlic in. We want the garlic to kind of sit there for a little bit and really, really give a lot of flavor to this dish. We're gonna put the shallots in here too, and we're gonna sweat all that. Okay. Sweating is basically kind of just making it translucent. You want it to get cooked. You don't want raw garlic in there. You don't want raw shallots in there. It'll be too much flavor. It just won't be good for you. Kind of lower it down, cook it slow. You're going to get the pasta to catch up. Okay. And just turn this really, really low. You want the oil to stay warm, and you want this garlic and the shallots to cook, but not brown. And that's the key thing here. So this will just be a little bit. It's going to take about 5 minutes for that pasta to get ready. Now what we're going to do here, the trick is, this is not going to get cooked with a flame. We're going to take this pasta out of here when it's ready. We're going to pull it directly from the water, and we're going to throw it into this pan. Then we're going to throw the bortaga on top of it. And what's going to happen is that heat from that pasta is going to cook this. This is a very, very fragile thing. Once that heat hits it, you want it to cook just enough. We're going to want this pasta cooked al dente, which means it's going to have a little bit of a tooth to it. Okay, here we go. The pasta's ready. So again, we're going to pick it right out directly from the pot, put it in here. We want that little bit of water. That's going to help bring that cream up. So I'm using one of these. They help out a lot to grab this long pasta out here. So we'll put this in here. Okay, that's it. So I put this in here. We'll let it get a little coat of oil in it. Roll that garlic, put that in there nice. And here comes the bouillon soup. You're going to take your bortaga and you're going to put it right on top. Okay? Now you got to start mixing it very quickly. Okay? Very, very quickly. And also, you're going to want to put a ladle full of this pasta sauce in there. Turn. And this is going to be enough for 4 people. This is a pound of pasta. You know, to Italians, a pound of pasta can feed up to 1 to 4 people. Depends on the Italian. You can see right there, you see how it's a nice creamy sauce? Beautiful. Okay, now we throw the lemon zest. We're going to turn the heat off a little bit. The juice from the 1 lemon. Okay. We're going to salt this to taste. I think that's fine. A little bit of black pepper. Okay, this is freshly ground again. You know, always use freshly ground pepper. Now we're going to take a little bit, take about 3/4 of the lemon zest. We're going to save a little bit so we can throw it on top. Okay, again, just mix this up. Alright guys, this is the final recipe from this series, and what we have over here is, this is the meat from the rack. Now, when I went fishing, we caught quite a few fish. I took 2 racks plus the other rack that I filleted. So this is about 3 racks of fish. It's a lot of fish. I mean, that's how much meat would have gone into the garbage. So we stripped it down, we baked it, and here we have all this. What we're gonna do is we're gonna saute the garlic, the onions, and the shallots, kind of bring out a little bit of sweetness. We're only gonna sweat them out until they get translucent. Then we're gonna throw the peppers in there, and then we'll put the fish and the seasonings, but I'll go step by step with you so you'll see what's going on. We get our sauteed pan, it's nice and warm. Melt that butter there. We're going to keep this on a medium heat. We don't want the butter to brown, and we don't want to brown the vegetables either. I think we'll throw the garlic in here. We have your onions and your shallots. All right, that looks about good. Now, we're going to throw in the red peppers, the sweet peppers. Let that cook just for a second. Okay, and then we're going to add the fish. Okay, actually going to turn the heat off now, because we don't want this too hot. Because when we add the egg, we don't want the egg to cook inside here. Here's the fish. Now look at that. Look how big those chunks of fish are. See that? I mean, would you throw that piece of fish in the garbage? Probably not. So, this is also a good time when you go through it to look for any errant bones. See, there's one right there. So just kind of break it up a little bit with your hands. Breaking up the. I'm going to break this up so it's kind of like a course meal. You don't want big chunks of fish in here, but you do. You want, a certain consistency. And I just want to show you, these are the cheeks that we were talking about. See that? Those are the cheeks. And those are really my favorite. They're pretty tasty. Now, we're going to toss the seasoning in. Okay, so you got your Zatarain's. I like that because there's a certain amount of spice to it. The Old Bay has got that little bit of celery salt in there, so that's a nice flavor mix. So I want to kind of spread that around. All right. And then we're going to toss our breadcrumbs in here. And we're going to mix it. Now, be careful because the pan can be hot. You want to kind of fold all this mixture in together. Okay. Now we're going to put the egg in there. We're going to beat that for a second. Okay. The egg is going to act as a binder along with the breadcrumbs. And it'll kind of hold these fish cakes together so when they're frying. Mix this with our hands. The pan's gotten cold. All these ingredients in here. So. Okay. All right, let's throw the parsley in here, which is going to get this incorporated very nicely. So that's the parsley and cilantro. Here's what you got. See how nice and incorporated that is? So now we're going to make the patties. Now with patties, you're going to want, you could do two different sizes if you'd like. If you want to do a main course type where you'd give 2 fish cakes, say, for a serving, you're going to want to make a tennis ball sized meatball, I guess. Here, about that big. Okay? Now you just flatten it down. And you run your finger, your thumb and your index finger along here. This is what you want, about this size here. Okay, you see how nice that is? Now that's a good portion. It's about, I guess, 3/4 of an inch thick. Okay, the next step after this is you take the fish cake, dip it in the egg. Okay, and then into the flour. You have to reshape it a little bit. It's fine, don't worry about it, it happens. That there, right there. And now we have our crab cakes. Made a little bit of each, the appetizer size and main course size. Now what you want to do is you want to get it frying. I mean, if you have a deep fryer, that's great, use a deep fryer. If not, you take a large pan, put about a ½ inch of oil, high heat oil. So you want to kind of have this shimmering. It's got to be probably around 300 degrees or so. Okay, and you want to just ease the cakes into here. You get a nice good fry in there. So you want to cook these, and you'll see them getting brown on the edges, and that's when you're going to want to flip them. Okay. Okay, that looks good. That's about the brown you want right there. The smaller ones are going to cook faster, so you just want to keep your eye on those. Now,